So yesterday we covered regular expression. Any queries? So today I'll start with list comprehension. So what is list comprehension? Okay, so it's specific to Python. You'll not find this particular programming construct in any other programming language. Okay, it's just optimization, and it's a better way to write your list operations. Okay, so when we can use list comprehension? So your use case will be if you want to perform transformation on each element list. Okay, we can go with the this comprehension. Okay, so you have a list and you want to perform some operation on an individual element. Okay, in that case only you can go with your list comprehension. Okay, let's start with some example. So I'm taking this list 40, 50 and 60. Okay, now I want another list, okay, which will store square of each number. Okay, now here I'm actually want to perform transformation on each individual element. Okay, I don't want the collective result on each element. I want to perform some transformation. Okay, how to write it with normal for loops? I want another list. Okay, all right, for value in L. L2 dot append value into value. Okay. So this will give me square of each element, right? Now same thing how I can write it using the comprehension. Okay. I want a list. Okay. So what is list comprehension? You want a list, that's why you will enclose everything in a square brackets. Okay. Your logic you will write inside the square brackets. Okay. Now I need to iterate over it, so I'm writing my normal for loop for value in L. Okay. Now you want to work on this particular value. You want, while storing, you want to store square of this particular value. Okay. Now whatever is the output of your list comprehension, you will specify at the start. Okay. So defaultly it works with your append method. So you do not have to write append call. In a list comprehension, your append call is implicit. Okay. So I'm just writing value into value and iterate over this list. Okay, so iterate each element, you will get square that particular element. Okay. Now if I print L2, it will give me the square of each individual element. Okay. So using list comprehension, one thing, you are reducing the number of lines of code which you are writing first. Second, as the method calls of this append are implicit, okay, so these calls are faster than your normal append call. Okay, so that's why if you work on with large numbers, you can find that your list comprehensions are faster than your normal for loops. Okay, so it provides better performance, as well as it will reduce the total line of code also. Okay, so this will be the syntax. I want a list, that's why I will add everything in a square brackets. Okay, I need to iterate using a for loop, and output always will be at the start. Okay, so whatever may be the operation you want to perform, it will be at the start. Okay. So this is the value it will be appending to your list. Okay, so I have this list of strings. Okay, I want to store length of this individual element. Okay, how should I write this in comprehension?
L of
First thing, I'll write my normal for loop for value in L part. Output I should write here. What should I write?
L.
If I write len of L, okay, so length of len of L is the entire list. I want length of individual element. Okay. Now I have two lists. Hi. Now I have two lists. I want to create a dictionary out of it. So one list is this list of strings. I calculated another list which will contain length. Okay. So you have two lists now. Create a dictionary. It will store this string and its length as a value. So this will be a key, and the value should be this length. Okay. It's list comprehension. List comprehension. List covered. I'll just give it over. So we have another thing, that is list comprehension. So what is list comprehension? That you have a list, okay, and on an individual element you want to perform some operation. Okay, so in that case you can use this list comprehension. Okay, but this is pretty much clear that I will only use if I want to perform some transformation on individual element. Okay, if I want a sum of all the elements, okay, that is not a use case for my list comprehension. But let's say I want square of individual element, or I want to add something to it. So be it any operation in which you are performing some operation on individual element, I can write it using list comprehension. Okay. A map, yeah. Okay. Now, how to write a list comprehension? I want a list from this. Okay, that's why I will add everything into the square brackets. Okay. Now, if I want to write it using normal for loop, I'll be for value in L, then create one list and I do not append value into value. Right. So this is my normal for loop to iterate over it. Okay. Now, whatever may be the output of your comprehension, you will write it at the start. Okay, so exactly. Okay, so now here in this case I want square of individual elements. Okay, so that's why I'm writing only value into value. So this list comprehension will implicitly make a call to your append method.
So we in this comprehension only if we need to do some operation
On all elements. Yeah. Okay. So now if I just print it, it will give me list of square. Okay. So next example we saw, okay, I have a list of strings and I want to store length of individual element. So I'm iterating using this for loop again and just storing the length. So now, okay, what should I write? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay, so now I'll get the dictionary. Okay. So now let's say you want to filter out the elements. Okay, I want only even numbers from this. Okay, so if number is even, then only I will add it to the new list. Otherwise, skip that. Okay, so how I can write this? So in short, in this I can write my if construct. I can write my for construct. Okay. L2. So I need to check individual element if it's even or odd, right? So say for
any variable object.
anything. Output will be list. That's the only answer.
Because we are giving square.
Yeah.
If you do tuple like
So we don't have tuple comprehension. So if you add a square bracket, okay, so it becomes a generator expression. Is a generator covered for you? Can we cover this? Okay. But we do have dictionary comprehension and we do have set comprehension. Okay, so change the brackets and it will be set comprehension. Okay. But tuple comprehension, no. You change the meaning. Alright, I'm saying for value in L. Okay. If I just add value here, I'll get all the elements, right? Now I want element, but only when the number is even, right? So I want single output, so that's why I will keep this as it is. Okay. I will add some condition here if value not true equals equal to 0. Okay. Yeah. Come to that. We'll come to that.
can this format in regular else like for loop like for value in L
Mm-hmm.
in single line statement for loop itself.
Normal for loop.
Normal like simple
Here, if.
in while writing normal.
Mm-hmm.
Can we write if
In the same line, right? No. Okay. Another important point of your list comprehension is every comprehension you can write using loops, using your for loops. Okay, but that doesn't mean I can write every for loop. Okay, so this is not valid. Okay, so I can convert your comprehension to for loop. Okay, but not necessary that every for loop I can write with comprehension. Okay, so unless and until there is a transformation, you cannot go with your comprehension. Now let's say I want multiple outputs. Okay, so here I just filter out the elements. Now what I want, if number is even, okay, add even to the list, else add odd, even, add even, else add odd. Okay, so I want to add multiple outputs. Here I was adding only one output, right? Now I'm saying L2 is equals to, okay, normal for loop for value n. Okay, now whatever value I will get, okay, based on that I want to add some different output. As this is related to your output, you will write it at start. Okay, so I'll say add even, okay, if value mod 2 equals 0, okay, else odd. Okay, so now here I added two outputs. Okay, so one is even, one is odd. Okay,
So we can give it before that.
exactly.
We can't write this till after for loop.
No, just check the condition. So if I write this statement after here, right? So I'm filtering out the element on that basis. So in this case, when I write a for loop, if loop here, okay, it just give me the elements as output which satisfies this particular condition, right? But I want all the elements now, okay, and then I want to check if it's even or odd, and based on that, I want to add different results. Okay. If you want to filter out something, your conditions will go after this. Okay. If you want multiple outputs, yeah. So if it's anything related to output, it should be at start. Okay. Here I cannot use elif. Okay. If I want multiple conditions, then I can use multiple else. Okay. So here let's say
And then we have to write,
exactly no else and then output.
But if we need, multiple conditions,
Mhm.
if value is, let's say.
So let's check if number is divisible by 5,
Yeah.
then add let's say divisible by 5. Okay, then
Divisible by 2.
else just check else add divisible by 5, that is if value mod 5 equals 0. Okay, else
Nested is required.
exactly something like that. Okay, now check the output
Actually,
of
no divisible by 2 places. And we are dividing by 2.
Okay, let's try something else. Okay, so output will be first, then if and condition. Okay. Else, output of that else. Okay. Yeah. So I cannot write elif keyword here. I have to work with if and else only. Okay. Comprehension you can write on multiple lines if you want to. Mhm.
In that do if first condition value that is whatever if this condition is not satisfied, then it will go to the next if.
Yeah.
Then it will check value declarable by 5 or not. If it is not
So it's like just have a look. Here this is the output of this if. That means if number is divisible by 2, then output is divisible then, right? Okay. Next thing is check this if value mod 5 equal to 0 or not. If yes, then output is divisible by 5. Okay. Otherwise output is something else. Okay. So it's like your output you will always specify first. Okay. So you are saying if it's divisible by 2, output is by 2. Okay. Else check value by 5 is 0 or not. If it's divisible, then give me output divisible by 5. If it's not, then give me output something else. Exactly. Exactly.
And the verification will be
No, no, not it.
actually start.
So it's actually the same line.
So this list comprehension is much faster than doing it in Bangalore.
Yes. So one thing, you are reducing number of lines of code, and second thing, there is an implicit call to your append method. The list call which you use, that is l dot append in normal for loop. Okay, so that call is implicit. Whenever I'm writing the output, there is an implicit append call.
So can you explain implicit and explicit?
It's like internally Python is calling this append method. Okay, so you don't have to call this particular method. Okay, and that is obviously faster than you writing l dot method and then Python going to that method, then going to that particular function and executing. Okay,
So explicit means we call it.
we call it exactly. So your implicit call is example of a init method in your classes. That when you create an object, defaultly it gives call to your init method. You don't have to give a call to that particular function.
No, but
You write a definition, but you never say now execute my init method. You never give function call.
so all method overloading.
Exactly, exactly. So all methods which we generally specify with underscore all are implicit. Okay.
Kunal, can we use nested for loop inside this?
Yes, that is the next topic. Okay. What I'll do? Just let us. So it will work as your normal nested for loop, that it will start with 1, that is my outer for loop, and it will complete the inner for loop completely. So it will say 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Once the inner for loop is complete, increment the counter by 1. So 2, 10, 2, 11, 2, 12, 2, 13, 2, 14. Next start with 3. So this is your normal nested for loop, and as the output I am specifying that I want a tuple of value 1, value 2. Okay. So you
And
can
it's a singular, that's why it will not say any
no, 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 no.
Again, no indentation.
No, indentation.
We can do this in one line.
Yeah. It's just that one line statement will be too long.
It's keeping within tuple because we have
We have to set this value 1, value 2.
similarly we could have done dictionary also.
Yeah, same. Let's make this more complicated now. Comfortable till now? Okay. Let's try this then. I have a list which contains another list. Okay. I want output as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So this is called a flattening of a list, and this is really useful in your data science. In many places you will need this. Your data will be different, your type of data will be different, but operation will be similar. That I have a nested list and I need this, something like that.
We can use extend it.
How? We can, yes.
We need one for loop and all the elements we can execute on.
Okay. What should I write? For value and value. Okay.
Or maybe for value, or we need to use range so that we can use the index.
Range of
length of L.
length, okay. Value of L, okay. So in each iteration now I'll get 0, 1 and 2. Okay, yeah. So from this 0.
And do we need to initialize an empty list? Oh, it's itself.
We can use L2 equal to J. I will
All right.
or
Okay.
I in L.
Hold on. For value in L, let's say. Okay. So this is one for loop.
And then I will use for val1 in value.
For val1 in.
Value.
Mm-hmm.
And I will print val1.
All right. Perfect.
First I will take list, then I will take collections.
Okay. So if I iterate over this list, okay, in first iteration I'll get entire 1, 2, 3, second iteration entire 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9. Right? Now, okay. So I'll take this as this is another list. So now I need to iterate over this also. Right? So that's why so one for loop for value in L, okay, you will get this entire list. All right. Now from this entire list, this is also another list. Okay, so you are iterating now with this list that for val1 in this value. Okay, so in first iteration you will get 1, and that one you are adding to your main list. Second iteration you have 2, add it to the main list. 3, add it to the main list. Once this first list is over, your outer for loop will increment, and you will get this 4, 5, 6 as an entire list. Now you have to iterate over this 4, 5, 6 again and extract this 4, then 5, and then 6. Okay. Another way. Mm, okay. So I'm taking one extra empty list, and this is the list which will store the final output. Okay. Reason I cannot do this with a single list. If I try something, I do not extend value. Alright. Okay. So let's say the error what I'm getting. This L2 is not defined. Okay. So whenever you do not specify something, okay, defaultly it adds to the same list, right? Now when you are specifying this extend method, in that case it will check if this L2 exists or not, right? But unless and until this statement is executed, L2 will not exist, right?
If you create empty L2,
Exactly. So
no
okay,
need for
here, all right. Okay. So reason now in each iteration it's exactly. So your extend will not return you anything. Okay. So what your method is doing? So you are actually adding the value which is returned by this. Okay. So I'm saying L2 is equals to blank, right?
Yeah.
Now when I say L2 dot extend, okay, it will add this particular element to this list, right? And it will return none. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So that so it's actually storing the output, okay, and you're getting only none. Okay. That's why I'll just create a new list. So this will be a temporary list, and I will work on this. So I'll store this output and this extend, and this will be done. Okay. So this is one way, and all you can go with the forward. Yeah, yes, in the yeah.
But now also it's return.
So in that case, no. So this is the same list, right? So you're redefining the same list again here each time. So storing the output.
L3 will have none.
None. Now if I print L3, I'll get the same output.
L2 is
Just one more question came in that extended.
Mhm.
So as we are going in for loop, right? And extend is basically and it appends, right? It keeps an adding. Let's say one for loop it gave none as value. At the same time, it shouldn't be appending like none, comma, and value.
So when we did this, okay, I'm getting this none, right?
I'm saying when we use L2 itself, L2 equal to L2 dot extend.
Alright, so when I was saying,
We are getting none. I mean, I understood that.
Mhm.
What I was saying is that we are using extend as well. And define it, I mean, in
Mhm.
is there. Output is coming as none.
None, yeah.
But in general, the extend function should it be giving like none, and then the value of from the first loop, and then comma none. They keep on extending the list with the output of.
The previous one, right? So, yeah, it does the same, right? So, if I have this 10, 20, 30, now when I say L dot extend 100, 200, 300, if I change this list, it gives me something like that, right?
We are they're assigning it.
Exactly. Alright. Let's make it more complicated. Okay. Now your output is list in list.
We need to use list comprehension.
Yes.
List comprehension.
Yes.
And then again for loops are using change. Transfer of that.
Actually, it's a transfer.
It is actually transfer, right?
What will the logic? Logic?
So I'll open up all of this.
Mhm.
And equal to
Mhm.
and when basically first there will be a list and then
Yeah.
Second is the index.
Mhm. So my logic will be, so iterate over this. Okay, so from this list, pick this element. Next time, pick first. So in short, for this 3 times, I'm picking first element. Then repeat, I want to repeat the same list. Then pick the second element. Then again repeat the same list and get the third element.
Well, can we use temporary variables?
No. So you're not allowed to do any declaration inside your comprehension. Correct? L2 is equals to
Indexing of I outside G.
outside J.
Yes, I mean again indexing.
Alright, okay. Alright.
And then for I in range levels of L. Then again for
So in the first equation, alright.
J in
So same for J in
range
range
I comma length of
I comma
length of
uh, what you're thinking is here for I in range again. So let's get one. Okay.
comma length.
So start with this in first iteration and get this entirely. Then you are saying then iterate over this. You want to iterate over this and then pick the first element from this. Iterate over this and pick this thing and this thing, right? But this will not give me list and list. You are just flattening the thing. चालू किया okay. If I do what I'll get
It is not printing in the list. It is 1472586.
okay, so you got the indexes, okay, but it's flattening of that.
It is not running in the list. 147 should be in the list. 210 should be in the list.
Just make it
Right. I said something like, okay, I iterate over this, okay, and for each iteration, get this value of 0 only, okay. It gave me 1, 4, 7. That is the first, right? If I say 1, obviously it will give me the second one. Okay, if I say 2, it will give me the third one.
put this entirely in
Exactly. Now, in short, I want something which will each time it will give me 0, 1, and 2. Okay, and this should be entire list. So I'm just adding one more list here. I'm saying for, let's say, index, okay, in range till len of l. What happened to my brackets? This is what brackets? Okay, so this is the one. This comprehension.
perfect.
That's correct. So this is the inner one, and this is the outer one. Right, showing the
Range for
opening one.
the drop currency needs to be first started.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm saying this is the entire list of first comprehension. Let's start this. Here I have to put the index. So value of index for value in L. Then I'll iterate over for index in range.
Range is not closed. Range function is not closed.
First, the internal will work. Or
Then yes, yes.
Which will work.
So this, okay, hang on. Now this is confusing. So, alright, so this is my output, right? So in short, I have only for loop, right? So first this will work, get me one index, okay? And based on this index, calculate this output. Now my output is actually entire list comprehension. Okay, so in short, it's calculating this 3 times. So in first iteration, I'll get value of index as 0, right? Now I need from this entire list, I want to pick the 0th element for all these 3 in a list. Just say value of index. Any queries? Clear to everyone?
Here, it is 3 by 3. If it is 4 by 3,
If it's 4 by 3, if it's 4 by 3,
because I mean,
I guess it should work. Yes, it should work. Okay.
out of range.
Here is my list. So now, if my brackets correct, yes. So I want to say calculate length, yes, and it should be ln of value. For value in L, so which value this thing, but here I'll get 0, 1, 2, 3. If I say value of 3, okay, so now that will not work. Yes. Yes, because for this index now you will get, yeah, this will not work. Reason, here my length is now 4, right? So if you see this loop, this will give me each time till maximum till 3, that is 0, 1, 2 and 3. Right? So when I say value of index of 3, now I only have 0, 1 and 2 elements. Okay. So in this case, what can we change?
Some logic to use only the indexes.
Just think about this. So now I'm saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ultimately, I want to pick that particular number, be it a 4 by 4. So it should be length of individual element only. But then how many times it will iterate? If I make it 3, then it will iterate only 3 times, not 4 times. So it should iterate over the 4 times. But here it should only give me the index till number of elements.
We can do within the range, we can change length L or 0.
Length.
L.
Alright, so now problem with that approach is
If it is 4, then it will.
exactly. Exactly. Yes. So in short, you want this thing to give you the number of element, that is because you need to repeat this 4 times for sure. Okay. But still it should not give, so it should give elements till range only the list number of elements is.
Three.
Because I cannot put hard stop that give me till index -1 only, because in that case now if I increase the element then it will not work. So if I want something which will work always, better way 1, 2, 3, write it down, then only I can think of it. 4, 5, 6, then 7, 8, 9, and let's say 10, 10, 11, 12, and let's make this 5, 13, beat anything, your answer should be 1, 4, 7, 10, 13. So index of 0. So this should give you the numbers till 3. That's fine. Should work, right? And okay, it's picking that element. Picking that element.
And if you want output 1, 4, 7, 10, 20.
Output, yeah. No, I mean all, but yeah. So whenever you are iterating, when I'm iterating, in each time it is giving me this, and now it is actually going till this. So I need to restrict this loop till this length only. For index for value
Index or index is range length of array.
why this is giving is so yes, specifying this length is now 3, 4, and 5. Length is 5. Each time you need to pick 5 elements, right?
Okay.
So consider the first element. Okay. So this will give me 5. So it will start. First iteration it will pick this. Okay. So till 3 it will work fine. Right? But this will continue till 5. Now if that particular element tries to pick element which is at this 4th element and 5th element, then it throws the error. So I want something to restrict it till I have elements in this list.
No, in the last photo we can use range 0, 3. Right?
Not hard coding.
So if we do that hard coding, then if I change the number of elements in the list now, then in that case, if I make it 4 here, right? So each time now, so that will not.
Then range of size of particular element.
So here I cannot specify the length of individual element. Reason, if I give this, then it will be 3, right? In this case, okay. Now it will pick this, this, this. That's it. It will not pick 10 and 13. Getting?
No, it will take
No.
because the internal loop must be going on, right?
Alright, let's try this then.
I love 0.
Oh,
But if you will add 4 elements in one list, then
No, the concept is
No,
but you have to add to every.
it should be a matrix basically.
yeah, it should be a matrix. Yeah.
Then it
Yeah.
will work.
Yeah.
No.
So because whenever you are taking transfer, you should have perfect
Yeah.
matrix. So I'm taking L of 0. Okay. So how it works in that case? So when I say L of 0, I'm taking 3, right? Okay, so my indexes will go till 3 only. Okay.
But in this case, in every list, only 3 elements should be there. If you will add one more element, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4,
So if I make it this, I'm rewriting this.
Now I need to error. But you have to add the
If I add it to everything, it will work.
now it will work.
Yeah.
Actually, only for one list. Means you change only in one list.
Hang on guys, this is not working. Hang on guys, this is not working. Oh wait. But why this is not throwing error? I'm adding some comments. Alright, so it's a list that's alright. My bad. Where we were changing all the time.
You never say the right thing.
Okay, let's try this now. All right. So now I'm saying, let's add some common element. Okay, 10, 10, 10, and 10. Okay. Yeah. So this is working. This is working.
Maybe change initially.
That's what I'm thinking actually.
Green color keywords.
In that case, how many elements we have here? 4 by 4, no? Now let's make it 4 and then try. But it should not work. It should not work. But all the problems here. So if I make it only L, it should not work. It will not work. It will not work. Okay. All right. So this is your list comprehension. So using list comprehension in a single list, you can add your if construct, while, multiple while loops, a list comprehension inside a list comprehension. Okay. Let's discuss something called map, filter, and plans. So it's an alternative to what we have seen. Again, it's optimization for your for loop. Let's take the same example. I have this list. I want to make square of all the elements. Okay. Now, for the same thing, I can use map also. Okay. So let's say the map of. Now, what is the concept of map? You will specify one iterable. Okay, now that can be anything, be it list, be it tuple, be it range. Okay, it will defaultly pick one element at a time. Okay, and it will pass it to the function which you are specifying as a first argument. Okay, so your first argument will always be a function. Okay, so what I'm saying, let's say this function name is SVR. Okay, so each iteration it will take this argument, pass it to this function. Okay, 20, pass it to this function. 30, pass it to this function. 40, pass it to this function. Right? Now I need to write a logic for this particular function. Okay. So in def SQR, I said in each iteration it will pass only one number. It will not pass the entire. I'm saying this return me num into sum. Okay. Now defaultly it will return a map object. Okay, which is the object of this particular class map, and this is a iterable object. So if you want to see the output, one way is write a for value L2. Okay, or typecast it. Okay. So concept of map is you will specify one iterable and you will specify one function. Okay. So in each iteration, it will pass that particular function. It will work on that particular function and it will give me answer. Okay. okay, and it will be stored in a map object. Okay. Um, so in case of your map, your output will always be of same length as of your input length. Okay. I cannot do filter operation. Okay, so I can only do transformation operation using my map. Okay.
It's very short, right? If we don't use that task, the output will be.
So it will be a map object.
Usually a calling function that SQL should always depend at the calling.
Exactly. So it's the same. So this is my normal function call. So while giving a function call, your function should always exist at the top. So for print this will give me map object, and this is an iterable object. So if you want to get value out of it, iterate over this object, and it will give it. Okay.
Same like range.
Yeah, same like range.
And we don't have to give SQR then.
No parentheses. Defaultly, it will pick one element and pass it to this function. One element, pass it to function. Extract next, pass it to this function.
Somewhere we can use star map.
Star? No, I am not aware of that.
But instead of list, we can use
Anything.
dictionary.
So only restriction is iterable. So you can use the dictionary also.
You writing a list, then map. You are converting it.
But yeah, while typecasting, yeah, I cannot do dictionary because I need a key and the value. So map will perform operation and it will return a result of same number of elements as the Now I want to filter out the elements. Okay. So let's take the same example of even and odd. If I want to filter out the elements based on a particular condition, in that case I will use this filter. Now syntax of filter will be again same. Okay. I need to pass one list. This is my iterable. Okay, now this can be anything. Now in each iteration, it will pass one element to this filter function. Okay, so okay, I need to write this particular function even. Okay, let's say def even. Again, I said it will pass single element at a time. Okay, now I'm saying that if this num mod 2 equals 0, then only return the number. Let's pass this to list. Okay, if I use map instead, okay, so as I said, map, your output will always be same as the length which you are passing. Another thing I can do is throw okay. So earlier I was just returning the number. Now I changed actually to return true and return false. Okay. So how filter will work? It will perform some operation on this list. Okay. And it will return only the numbers for which answer stored is true. Okay. So when I say 10, okay, so it come to defaultly to true, right? So when I passed 15, the answer was false. When I passed 20, answer was 20. 25, false, right? So when I print the output filter, it will only print the number for which your answer is true. Okay. If you want to see that exact answer, just try map here. Okay. So now you have answer stored as true, false, true, false, true, true, true. Okay. So your filter, it will filter out the elements only for which answer is true.
Basically, can we say map stores the return value, whereas filter will always store the original element
Yep.
filter.
Okay. If you check this also. Um, okay. So it shows return a iterator yielding those items or variable for which function item is. So this is the function that is where for that even function we are seeing. I will pass the item and it will return the iterator only if your answer is true. If function is none, returns the item that are true. Okay, so it always returns the elements for which your answer is getting true.
Or can we say true here means
True means the condition which you are specifying is true. Okay. So now let's say I want to modify same thing for if this is one and only this. Now I get odd. Okay, because now for odd the condition will be
One more thing.
true.
Instead of return true,
Mhm.
I will pass string. For example, I will write there even
Mhm.
and else I will write odd.
Alright, let's try this. I haven't tried this.
Will you everything?
So it actually checks only for true, right? So you should have answer of this.
All the values.
Now I'm specifying my answer will be even or odd, so it's not from true and false. So I made it reverse. Let's try for this one. Alright. Now it's giving the answer odd because default your answer will be true then for everything.
If you use map, it will get even or even.
If I give map here,
So more mainly we can say it depends on the definition. Of the
definition, yeah. Now, generally, whenever map and filters are used, okay, they are combined with your lambda. Okay. Now, what is lambda? So, lambda is nothing but small anonymous functions. Okay. If you have a very short function which contains hardly one or two lines, you are not reusing it much. Okay. Then you can write a lambda function for this. Okay. If your function definition is getting bigger, then it's advisable go with your normal definition. Don't go with lambda. Okay. If it's small one-line function, two-line function, you don't have to write def function name, return type, and everything. Okay. In that case, you can go with your lambda functions. Okay. So same example how I can modify using lambda. Okay. Let's start with map. Alright. So now instead of this square function, I will write a lambda function for this. Lambda. This is my keyword. Okay. Whatever I will write here will be my arguments. Okay. If I want to pass multiple values, I will separate it by comma. Okay. Now this is like in a function definition, you are specifying the arguments similar to this. Okay. Now, by the definition of map, right? In each iteration, it will pick one element and it will pass it to the functions which is written here. Okay. So here, let's say that is num. Right. So now in a first iteration, it will pass this 10 as num, 20 as num, 30 as num, 40. Okay. Now what I need to do with this num, I want square of this particular number. Okay. How to write a definition for this? You use colon, okay, and your expression. Okay. You will get it right. Okay. You do not have to write any return statement, nothing. Okay. So from this num, give me num star star. Okay. Mm,
You can print anything using lambda.
Right?
Print just like the word.
Yep.
You don't want to pass any
No. Alright. So concept of lambda is you have to write one expression, at least one expression. Okay, you cannot do assignment inside a lambda. Okay. So things which I can achieve is, let's say f is equals to lambda, okay, x comma y. Okay. If I just say x plus y, print f of y comma. Okay. So now I'm passing two arguments and this is my expression. Okay. Because I'm not specifying any return statement. So whatever statement I'm specifying will be final. Okay. The one problem which we solved in the first lecture, that if character is a vowel or a consonant. Okay. How to write a lambda for this? I need to pass this z. Okay, fine. So I'll say vowel if
equals to A, B, that's it.
Is anyone when you're using lambda, he has to pass argument.
not necessary.
So instead of J, we can use directly A.
Right? Direct answer, direct string.
That's
Try this. First try this one. Let's go this side. So print this f of z. Okay. Alright. Problem is whatever I'm saying here, it's getting passed here. Right. So I don't think I can write it. I don't think it will work. No.
we have to pass.
We have to pass the line. Okay. Another use case of lambda. We have solved that problem, right? Sort the dictionary based on the values.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone remembers it? Okay. So I have a dictionary which contains 5, 40 and 50, 30, 10, 30, 40, 2, 10, 5. Okay. I want to sort this dictionary based on values. Answer?
You mean output should be like 5.
So output
10,
should be
5.
10, 5, 2, 20, 3, 30, 8, 40, 5. Answer to this? Anyone remember sorted function?
keys, it will sort on the list of give a list as output, but on the list of keys.
Okay.
We can, I mean, but this is not the list of values.
Still starting on basis of keys. Remember something this? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. So last time we discussed using functions, right? So I used a function, let's say val. One, let's say this is my function. Okay. So how it will work? So d dot items in each iteration, it will pass this particular key and the value to this function, right? So I'll write a definition that is def val1, right? And I will pass, let's consider this as x. Okay, so this will be the tuple, and I'm saying return x of 1, right? Because 0 will be your key, 1 will be your value, right? So now I print this. Okay, so I have sorted one. I just typecasted dictionary. Okay, and I'm sorting 5, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So your sorted function takes another argument that is key. Okay, this is optional argument. Okay. Now this key should be a function. So how it will work? In each iteration, it will take one element and pass it to this particular function. Okay. In this case, I'm using this d dot item so that I will have d dot items. It will give me key and the value there, right? So in first iteration, it will pass 5 and 30 as a tuple. I'm passing this entire tuple to this value, right? So if I print x, it will be a tuple of key and the value pair. I want to sort it on the basis of value. That's why I'm just saying return value from this. Okay, and this sorted function will automatically consider this value parameter, and it will sort it on the basis of value. Okay.
When it is d dot items, it returns a sorted list of items.
So when I say okay,
It's sorted.
okay, so this gives me key and the value pair as a tuple.
Okay.
Now when I say sorted, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So it will give me key and the value pair, but sorted on the basis of key, right? Now I can specify a second argument that is key. Now it should be a function. Okay. So whatever value you are getting in each iteration, it will pass that value here. Okay. Now that is the reason I need d dot items. If I just only say d, I'll get only key, right? So each iteration I'll get only key, and it will pass it to this function. Again, it will sort on the basis of keys only. Okay, so that's why I'm passing key and the value pair as a tuple, and from this just generate the value, not the key.
But what is going to x over there?
X is a tuple, so it will in first iteration it will pass entire 5, 50, 8, 40, 3, 30. Okay. Not calling it.
Now we can use that key equal to
Okay. So now this is giving me 550. From this return me 50. 840 return me 40. Okay. So now this is again a very small function. I can replace it with lambda. What should I write here?
lambda
Mm-hmm.
x dollar x x of
Okay.
I don't have a problem to sort by value.
Oh, what was the previous?
I sorted the value,
Uh-huh.
all the values sorted
Uh-huh.
out,
Uh-huh.
and then I think
You mapped it exactly what changed.
was a list actually, and created an empty list,
Mhm.
and then based on the value, keep on searching if any
Number is greater, yeah,
and then you get that.
separate.
It became a manual. I might have it.
now you will write instead of d dot items, you will write d dot values.
Alright. Now, when I say d dot values, okay. So what d dot values actually gives? So it will give me this 50, 40. Okay. Now forget about this lambda. So this will not work for sure. Right? But now you are passing only one value. Okay. So it will again sort on the basis of values. Okay. And you will only get the values. You will not get the keys. Okay. If you use keys, you are already starting with the keys.
But when lambda will not
So here, if same function I run, okay, now you are saying d dot value. D dot values will give me one element. Now, if one element is passed, and I'm saying x of one, right?
no, it's a one only will write x.
Right. If you want same, then if you actually write this, then you don't need this entire thing. Still, cannot convert to dictionary update sequence element. Alright, now I have single element. I don't have key and the value background. So I cannot typecast it with dictionary. And what is this output? Now I'll get only.
Sorted.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. I guess we have modified our lambda for filter. Okay. So same, instead of writing this even thing, I'll write a lambda here. Yeah. What should I write? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't, so I said for filter, it will just check if condition true or false, right? So I'll just say num mod 2 equals 0, right? If I pass a number, if number is divisible by 0, it will store true. If it's this, it will store false. But ultimately, this is filter function, so it will return only answer for which you are storing true answer. Right? So this should work. Instead of false.
Reduce function in 2.7.
Yeah, reduces from 2.7.
It's not an A.
No, so it actually moved to another functional level. So this is your map filter and your lambda. Okay. Uh, should we start with generators or not? Next class. Okay. Take your call, guys. Next class. Well, it's already 11. So. And then, so in next class we will work with iter tools, okay, and generators. Okay. Once this is done, then we'll go to your rules concepts. One session, yeah.
Now I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, which gives better performance, using the list comprehension?
Now,
or using
so these are completely alternative solutions. The performance wise, if you calculate both, performance will be same for both list comprehension and map. So either go with the normal for loops. If you want optimization, you can either go with comprehension or go with your map. Okay, so performance wise, there is not much difference in your comprehension and in the map. So see, whatever data types which are mutable, you can do comprehension for that. Okay, because for tuple, I cannot add elements, right? So defaultly, I just need to write a logic which will add element to my dictionary. That's the same. Let's see. Okay. This is one set. 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I don't have to do anything separately. So defaultly it will just give a call instead of append method. Now it will give a call to add method implicitly. Okay. Now everything will remain the same. Yes. The only thing is I cannot get in a same order. Let's try the same example. Okay. It's exactly same. Okay. It just the order will now change. Yeah. And dictionary comprehension. Yeah. So for tuple, so that is called your generator expressions. Okay. So just to give you a hint, if I say something like this, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. Okay. Now when I say S2 is equals to square value into value, okay, and for value in S, okay. If you see this print S2, this will be this generator object. So we are more than this, so for value in S2, okay, print value. Okay. Now the main advantage of generator is not to iterate, okay, is the number on demand. Okay.
Sequence.
Yeah. So if I give this, all right. So this is something we'll discuss in generators. Next function, yield function. Same. Dictionary comprehension, it's same exactly. Same exactly. Alright, okay. So when I say any dictionary, okay, so let's say 1, 10, 2, 20, 3, 30, 2, 40. Okay. Now let's take the smallest example of list comprehension. I'm just saying, don't say value, say x, say 4, and 3. Now if I iterate over a dictionary, what I'll get? E, right?
value will be
Right, fine. Okay. If I want key and the values,
X
X dot item.
X dot item.
okay.
And there will be values.
No, I guess. No, I guess. No. My bad. Okay. So D dot items and this X. Now in each iteration I'll get tuple, right? So in each iteration I'll get tuple. Okay, here is tuple. Now you want to do anything with this, just add your logic. Okay. Now if you want to square the same thing, what should I write here? So D dot items, it's giving me both, right? But while storing, I need to store the square of values.
X
I guess in that case, better if you go with this. Okay. So in each iteration, I get E.
We can write X, comma,
in a tuple.
X of
I just start to. Again, you're getting the elements, but ordered, it's not the same.
If we need a dictionary as output, then we do that.
We are getting a dictionary, then use this. Items. Now when I say, okay, so now I'm getting a tuple, right? So while storing, store it as
X comma X.
I'm saying X.
X is 1.
So I should get two value, right? So while storing, let's store it X of 1 star 2.
X colon.
Now what is this tuple?
Yeah.
remove it.
And that X is a
Only write B.
X of 0 colon.
X of 0 colon.
Yeah. So we'll finish most of the procedural part first, okay, and then only move to the object oriented. Okay, then we'll stop here. Okay.
You want to send out
Yesterday when I sent you,
this is what I was sorting.
actually are creating one list and
Sorted list.
uh-huh.
And then creation of empty list. And then first assign it none. We need an empty SQL because otherwise I'm going for keys in dictionary. And if I'm checking the value of that key from this dictionary, now let's say A, and the value of A is 23. Then I is range, and so I'm iterating over it, and then if value of this dictionary is equal to the value, and it is not assigned here, then only you assign the value. Basically, creating a and then
So the better approach is will be if you want to do it without this. Okay? You have a dictionary. Okay? Create two lists from this L1 and L2. Okay? You can easily get this using your keys, and you can easily get this using your values. Right? Now create another dictionary D1. Okay? Let's say this is the empty one. Okay? Now, while iterating, okay, you will not iterate using this dictionary or a list one. Okay, iterate using for value, value and zip of L1 comma L1 comma L2. Okay. Now, what exactly you're doing? Now you're iterating over two lists simultaneously. Okay. Now, whatever operation you are performing on a L2, okay, make sure now you have a pair of key and the value, so that while sorting also you can move both of them. Try with this approach. Okay. It will be, I guess, much more easier, because ultimately the problem you are facing is you can easily swap a list on based on values, but for the same thing I need to swap my key also.
this work whatever you do and
Yeah.
But you just print value, you just put the output.
What?
Just print value.
Yeah,
it's important, right?
it's a zip. Yeah. Okay, you want to see the output for zip? All right. No, actually, I'm not showing any values there. All right. 10, 20, 30. Okay. 30 is equals to 100, 200, 300. Okay. If I for value and zip for L1, comma, L2. So now you're iterating over two lists simultaneously. Okay. So you have one from this, one from this. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys.